Just an update on Dan Duggan. The Duggan family needs their fellow Aussies to get behind them because the Australian government, their government, has betrayed them. So as you probably saw in the news last week, the federal judge ruled against Dan Duggan's appeal against his extradition to the United States. Now, the Duggans had, as of that day, 28 days to decide whether to appeal that decision. If they can't appeal it, then he's going to get extradited to the United States. What I'm furious about is I've just read the judge's ruling, and it is shocking. And it's worded in such a convoluted way that I think the judge himself knows it's BS. Because what he's ruled is that the government was right to apply a 2018 law retrospectively to what Duggan was accused of doing in 2012 so that the government could meet the Extradition Act's requirement for what's called dual criminality. You can't extradite someone to another country unless what they're accused of is a crime in this country as well. That's what the Extradition Act says. And the government actually said to the courts that, and they justified the fact that they applied this law from 2018 to what he did in 2012 by saying, well, the Extradition Act isn't explicit that the offence he's accused of has to be a crime at the time he committed it. It's only got to be a crime at the time of the extradition. That's what their argument. And the judge upheld that argument. So even though retrospective law is prohibited in Australia and the United States, a judge, in order to please the government, which is trying to please Donald Trump and the United States, has twisted himself in knots to justify the government's position. And then, to add insult to injury, he has whacked the Duggan family with costs. So the army of high-paid lawyers or overpaid lawyers that the government sent to court to argue this garbage of justifying retrospective law, the Duggan family, which is already bankrupt, which is $1 million in debt, which has a house they're not allowed to sell because the Americans got it frozen, so they can't sell it and pay their legal bills, they've now been hit with legal costs that they have to pay because Dan Duggan's appeal was rejected. So the Citizens Party has been advocating for Dan Duggan ever since he was arrested, 3 years and 6 months ago now. We're calling on all Australians to get behind the family and call Anthony Albanese, call Attorney General Michelle Rowland, call your local MP and demand they free Dan Duggan. We'll put the details below how you can do that.